Tonight on Q2, a wild ride on the weather front. Severe weather hammering the area from large hail to strong winds. Warnings of tornadoes are spawned and electricity is lost, plus towers in the sky.
You're looking at each structure to be the size of the Seattle Space Needle.
Plans to build dozens of windmills, more than twice the size of Montana's tallest building, lead to a giant-sized debate. We'll tell you where. And from big towers to Bigfoot.
It's been really cool just to see the support it's gotten here.
Why Sasquatch was spotted roaming the streets of Joliet.
From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Good evening and thanks for joining us on this Friday night. I'm Hailey Monaco. Our top story, Mother Nature wreaking havoc across the region tonight. Several areas seeing severe storms, everything from hail to high winds. Yellowstone, Bighorn and others even seeing tornado warnings tonight, but nothing actually touched down. In Winnett, there was enough rain to impact travel on Highway 200 as that area dealt with flooding. Harlowton also reported damage to roofs, while hundreds reported power outages in Yellowstone and Bighorn County. This was in Columbus, where they were hammered with hail just after 6 this evening, and prior 2.5-inch hail at Deadman's Basin. Those high winds and heavy rain leading to some intense conditions on the water this evening, and this may just be the start for the weekend. With more on that, here's meteorologist Jason Stiff.
Yeah, easy to see how stormy of a day it's been for much of southern Montana as well as northern Wyoming. The Billings area specifically kind of missed out on a lot of the active weather, but you can see we still have a lot more occurring over other parts of our viewing area, specifically southeastern Montana and far northern Wyoming. Now, we still have a couple more severe thunderstorm warnings out. They're going to expire between 10:30 and 10:45. One storm moving quickly to the southeast is currently northeast of Sheridan, moving down to the southeast about 35 miles an hour. Ping pong ball size hail a possibility and gusts up to 60 miles an hour. Also a little bit further to the northeast, we have another storm moving through Powder River County, also moving at 35 miles an hour. More gusts up to 60 miles an hour. That's approaching Broadus, and we have some more active weather moving over Ekalaka as well as parts of Custer County. And we have more potential for thunderstorms going forward. Your 7-day forecast coming up in a few minutes.
Eastern Montana may not be home to any skyscrapers, but we soon could see several structures just as tall, as plans are in the works to build a massive wind farm southwest of Glendive. At 575 feet tall, each turbine would stand roughly as high as Seattle's Space Needle and would be more than twice the size of Montana's tallest building, the First Interstate Bank in Billings. And as our David J. found out, it's just that, the scope and size of the project, that has many concerned.
The tallest building in Montana is 272 feet, and that's the First Interstate Bank in downtown Billings.
At 272 feet tall, it's hard to imagine many structures in Montana taller than this one, let alone 70 to 100 of them, and in the most rural part of the state. But that's what's proposed about 20 miles southwest of Glendive.
These turbines that are projected for our county will actually be the size, more or less, of the Seattle Space Needle.
Former Montana State Senator Rick Holden is among the many with concerns. Slated to break ground in 2026, the Glendive Wind Project would have a capacity of producing approximately 800 megawatts of clean, renewable energy, but Holden says at a cost.
When you look at the fiberglass shards, flakes, and strands that blow off the fiberglass blades, they blow all the way across the country. And when that happens, it contaminates our soil and our crops.
But Ross Feehan of Next Era Energy disagrees and says there are no fiberglass shreds during normal operation. He highlights the potential economic impacts, which include an estimated $5 million in annual economic activity over 30 years of the project. Feehan is concerned by a proposal before the planning board that would limit the height of turbines that he says would essentially kill the project.
That will completely eliminate 4 landowners who have already signed up for the project. It will impact an additional 6 landowners. Altogether, it will prevent those landowners from earning an estimated $44 million over the life of the Glendive Wind Project.
Don Laney, executive director for the Miles City Area Chamber of Commerce, has already seen the economic benefits of the Clearwater Wind Project in his county, where up to 300 windmills are being constructed.
It's imperative that we, we find ways to make it because it's difficult to bring in large industry here.
The planning board isn't expected to make a recommendation to the county commissioners for at least a month and is considering at least 3 possibilities: expand regulations, less broad regulations, or no zoning that would affect windmills. Regardless, it's a decision many will be closely watching.
If you put these strict regulations in place, you are handcuffing our economy in Dawson County.
We got to take things in our own hands to protect our livelihood.
In Glendive, David J., MTN News.
3 years ago today, it was also a wild weather day as south central Montana was flipped upside down by historic flooding. We all remember this scene. Several rivers jumped their banks over the course of several days, ripping homes from riverbanks, destroying roads, and even burying much of Red Lodge underwater. Yellowstone National Park was evacuated, and the Montana National Guard lifted people to safety. 3 years later, many bridges and roads, especially in Montana's backcountry, are still awaiting repairs. But there has been major progress, including this milestone just yesterday, as this new bridge to Woodbine Falls opened to hikers almost 3 years to the day after it was destroyed.
The bridge is so beautiful. I love bridges anyway. And the trail was very well maintained. We saw where they had just recently cut some trees down.
The impact of the floods was also financial: $46 million in public assistance, $13 million in federal loans, and hundreds of millions of dollars in lost revenue to businesses around the state. Tensions continue to boil over in the Middle East tonight. Iran fired dozens of missiles on Israel today, with Israeli officials saying at least 21 people were injured, with 2 in critical condition. Air raid sirens sounded throughout the country as explosions could be seen in the sky as missiles fell on Tel Aviv. The White House says the U.S. helped intercept the missiles, but some still made it to the ground. Iran's supreme leader addressed his nation, saying Iranian armed forces will leave Israel, quote, helpless, and that Tehran will not pursue half measures in its response. His warnings follow an Israeli overnight attack targeting Iran's nuclear program and military sites, killing top nuclear scientists and military leaders. Sources tell CBS News that President Donald Trump was aware of Israel's strike. Well, from floods to fires, as another wildfire season approaches, President Trump signs a wildfire reform bill into law, spearheaded by Montana freshman Senator Tim Sheehy. The Aerial Firefighting Enhancement Act strengthens the wildfire suppression fleets by allowing commercial firefighting companies to purchase excess military planes and plane parts to fight wildfires. Sheehy is the only first-year senator so far to have a bill pass through both chambers of Congress and have it signed by the president. The bill signing also coincides with the president issuing an executive order consolidating wildfire response programs. The real estate market across the nation is reportedly down, but it's quite the opposite here in Montana. According to Realtor.com, the median listing price for Billings in May was $440,000, while the median sold price came in at around $364,000. Tonight, our Hannah Pettiferry reports on when the best time to buy is and what exactly is driving the market.
The market is always changing.
688.
So we have a lot more inventory on the market right now.
That's the number of single-family homes on the market in Yellowstone County.
Active listings are up 10.8% compared to last month.
Realtors seeing more options for buyers. Billy Parrott, president of Billings Association of Realtors, says the median sales price in May was $370,000.
That's down 5.9% from last year.
And in Billings,
we are a little bit on the less expensive side as far as affordability compared to like Missoula and Bozeman.
So when is the best time to buy or sell? Jason Leninger, a broker, saying spring is the hottest time to list.
Once the grass gets green, middle of May, early part of June is statistically the highest net volume for sellers.
And with the 7% interest rate, Jason says it can cause people to hesitate.
If the interest rates do go down a little bit, that's going to bring an influx of people entering the market, which is great. for those that want to buy and sell something.
Median days on the market is 17 days up, 17.2% from last month.
Nationally, in some states, we're seeing more of a 30-day on the market. So 17 to me is pretty good. Still, it still shows that it's a strong market.
Sellers still getting top dollar after listing their home.
Sellers are still getting 98.4% of their list price, so they're still getting pretty close to list, which is a good sign.
Billy and Jason highlighting what Billings has to offer.
Billings as a whole is very diverse in its economy, from the oil refineries to the education corridor to the hospitals.
In Billings, Hannah Pettiferry, MTN News.
Warrior Women for Justice are taking a stand, bringing together families, advocates, and leaders to confront the crisis of missing and murdered Indigenous people in Montana and beyond. Nationwide, thousands of Indigenous people are reported missing each year, a disproportionate crisis that affects men, women, and youth across communities. Their conference in Billings this week was more than a gathering. It was a call for justice, a push for accountability, and a chance to be heard.
Trying to somehow address it so that we can move forward, because otherwise we stay stuck, and we've been stuck for a long time, I feel like, in Indian country. And I feel like it's either we can sit here and we can say, why doesn't the tribal council do something? Why don't the police do something? Why don't BIA do something? Why don't Indian Health Service do something? Why don't we do something? So that's what we're doing here.
The conference took place between yesterday and today at the Eagle Seeker Community Center and covered topics like grief and healing, search and rescue strategies, and community-driven solutions.